Hola, this is Linda Tórres, and I have the privilege today to join Arizona Barrio Stories with a special guest, where we're going to listen to stories of leaders, unsung heroes, people who empower people. So this is our first segment, ¿Qué pasa? And we begin with a lady who has many, many achievements. Actually, her legacy is very long, and we're going to start with reviewing her legacy and her leadership. She has personal and professional achievements, and may not be able to get to all of it, but we will begin. Today, I'm honored to introduce the Vice Mayor of the City of Phoenix, Laura Pastor. Laura, how are you doing?
I'm actually doing really good, Erlinda, and excellent.
Yes.
Especially in the space that I am at 52, and very confident and comfortable in my skin and who I am and where I am today.
See, I knew you would be. You still have that same smile. Since you were a little girl, you have the same smile. Laura, I'd like to start with, I know you're fifth generation native Arizonan. So am I, actually, Phoenician. But we don't find very many Arizonans or natives anymore. You have a great deal of experience as a teacher, and I understand your legacy started with education. Is that with your family? Do you want to tell us a little bit with your father, who was our first Latino congressman in the state of Arizona?
So my background actually started with teaching. I come from a family of teachers. As you stated, my father was a chemistry teacher, taught at North, and my mom was a bilingual teacher, taught at Annot, Grace Court, many different Phoenix Elementary school district. But that's not why I went into teaching. I went into teaching because I struggled in school. And I struggled in school in reading and writing. And it was a struggle all the time. Now that I know who I am today, I would say I had ADD as a woman. And it's a different way of looking at it and in women, because we're able to mask it, and they call us dreamers. So I would be in class not really understanding or be able to focus, and I would dream and look outside, or I would be very social in class because I wanted the teacher to like me, and so I would help them. So I was really kind of a caretaker. When I went to school, or I didn't go to school, I didn't want to go to school. I started working at 14, had multiple jobs throughout my career. When I turned 18 and graduated from St. Mary's, I wanted to work. And I wanted to work for the state because that's where I was working at the time. I was part of the clerical pool. And it wasn't until Elsa Avila, our MECHA director or MECHA sponsor from Phoenix College, who knew my parents, and my mom was very worried that if I didn't go to school, what would I do? And so the two of them figured out how to get me to Phoenix College to go talk to her. And I just said I wasn't interested, and she said, oh yes, you're going to be interested. And next thing I know, I'm signed up for Phoenix College, and she kept me involved through MECHA. So that's how I ended up in going to school, going to college. I was a late bloomer. I always say I'm a late bloomer. I'm methodical and just don't take risks that quickly. So I stayed at Phoenix College, worked as a student worker, did many things, and realized all my friends were graduating and going on to the university, and that I needed to really start to focus and figure out what I was going to do. When I got to ASU, I didn't know I had to apply for another college. So that tells you how naive I was about this whole process. Even though I had a lot of educators around me, I was still kind of naive about it. And so...
But you're always thoughtful, very analytical. You knew that you had a next step.
Right. I knew I had a next step, I just didn't know the timing.
Exactly.
And so went to ASU, realized, okay, what college do I want to go into? Had no clue, and just said, you know what, I want to go help kids that look like me, that struggled like me and be able to demonstrate that they can achieve. And if they had the ganas and the will, that they would do it. And so that's what made me go into teaching. I have a lot in social work too.
Whoa.
Yeah, I have a lot of classes in social work. I'm very curious about a human mind and their behavior. So
That's scientific type mind, right?
Right.
And yet, in the 5th largest city in the country, you're the vice mayor.
Right. And not even ever thought about I would be a city council person or even a vice mayor. It wasn't part of my dreams.
We're happy that you are.
Thank you.
You know, you have another elected office, and that's with the Phoenix Union High School District. Is that correct?
That is correct. I sit currently. This December 2022 will be my last meeting. Will have served 12 years on Phoenix Union and have done dual roles for will be 8 years, and it's time for me to step down and allow the youth to come in and play.
Yes.
It's a lot.
It's a great deal of work.
Yes.
I was a Phoenix Union High School graduate, so I'm very proud that you're there.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, if there's so much strategic planning that you do in the governing board, is there something favored there or impactful that you'd want to share with us for the students in our community out of that governing board experience?
So when I entered the Phoenix Union, they didn't have a solid strategic plan on where we were going to go in the next 5 years. So I worked with another board member and said, we need to design a strategic plan so that we know where we're going. And so I worked closely with other board members and we created our strategic plan. It still exists as a strategic plan that's always evolving and it's always changing and getting stronger with the needs of the community. And so that's one thing I would say. Dual enrollment. Board member Leela Alston was pushed for us to expand our dual enrollment. I partnered up with her and is working and have worked on dual enrollment and the expansion of Phoenix Union students having the opportunity to receive and get dual enrollment credits. I work with a lot of—
That's critical.
Yes, I work with a lot of the college-going programs because I believe that if we plant the seed within our students, they will rise to the occasion. They just need the guidance.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of my last ones. And then finally, I entered the board because I wanted academic accountability. The purpose of me running for the board was to demonstrate and show that our community, once given access and resources, can change the world and change their community one person at a time. And so my purpose was, if we could create the academic rigor that is needed in order to compete in a global market, that we would see our community placed in any different areas. For example, a CEO of a bank, one of our top lawyers, judges, elected official, anything, anywhere, but also a mom and dad. So,
That's right.
Or running their entrepreneur business, their lawn business, their catering business, anything like that, but that they would be able to do it.
And exceed expectations.
Correct. I wanted to change the statistic is what I wanted to do.
And you have. And you have.
Yes, I wanted us to all be positive.
I want to transition to your own legacy and have you share with us, as you've mentioned, Latinos, Chicanos, Mexicanos, we need to move to our next step or our next realm. What would you say to Latinos about those especially that want to run for office? What would you advise them?
My advice would be to take the risk, that you will be vulnerable when you run. It's okay to fail, because I failed. And pick yourself up again.
Good.
And do it again if you have the passion, because you will get there. You also have to ask for help and allow your community to come in and help you and heal you in in a process of if you're down and low, allow people to come in and lift you and be able then to use that energy and strength to move forward in the next step and in the next risk. Sometimes, and I know this about myself, is I paralyzed myself as a young child in risk. And so I realized that I needed that help from the community and went and asked for it. So it's also a humbling experience.
Oh, I'm sure. Very insightful, very insightful. Thank you for that. Also, you are right in the midst of your re-election.
I am. I'm in the midst of my re-election. This will be my third term. I am ready to go knock on doors to get my petitions, and as like always, we have to ask for ourselves, and so I'm in the middle of fundraising. A lot of people don't realize that fundraising is critical in an election in order to get information about who you are out to the community. So,
how do we get people out there to vote, Laura?
Voting is tricky, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's an emotional piece, and we have an emotional attachment to it. So voting for me is about educating our community. It's not about just registering people to vote. It's about continuing the education and still continuing knocking on that door and saying, hey, it's now time to vote. And this is how we vote. It's about, once again, I go out back into my teacher world and say, we need to educate the community, and that it's a constant education, and it's a constant, you will always continue to vote. Or practice.
Thank you. Thank
you. The
you.
other piece is that it's our voice. That's one way we can demonstrate our voice. I know it's at times we lose, but it's okay. We showed we're here, we're proud, we're able to vote. We're always the sleeping giant, but I would say we're the sleeping giant because we don't know on ways to go. So once again, for me, it's like teaching. It's access. It's access for us to raise our voice and demonstrate what we want in this country.
Absolutely. In closing, Miss Vice Mayor, what might you share about what motivates you?
You know what motivates?
Your passion.
Yeah, I would say what motivates me the most are kids, is the new generation. I like being with the new generation. I like mentoring the new generation. I like their strength, their energy. That's what helps me move forward and write the policy that I need to write. So that's why I think I went into teaching without even realizing why I was going into teaching and what it did for me.
See, that's exciting. We're really proud that we have a vice mayor, a Latina. Anything else? If not, I want to thank you again. I want to thank you because I'm honored to be here with you.
Hi, Erlinda. Erlinda, let me just tell you a little tidbit about me, was my ballet folklorico teacher. Many people don't realize I did that for so many years. It gave me the discipline and really the grace that I needed as a young Chicana. And Erlinda was one of those unsung heroes within our community in many different ways of mentoring us. And so I like to thank you, Erlinda, for what you have done for our community.
Thank you. Don't make me emotional. True, true, true. And you are a damn good dancer.
I still am.
I want to thank you for all you've done. And I'm going to, in closing, say thank you to you for tuning in and being here with us. I look forward to the next episode, our next program. But until then, remember, inspire someone every day. Gracias.